Well, Justin Trudeau has invoked emergency powers, and these emergency powers have led to multiple arrests of Freedom Convoy members, their dogs being confiscated and euthanized, and even bank accounts being frozen, causing many people in the country of Canada to make a run for their bank accounts, a run on banks, if you will. All of this thanks to tyrant and dictator Justin Trudeau. But the question that must be asked is what happens next? Well, that information is going to floor you. But before I get into that report, just a quick break. A newly discovered software flaw is one of the most critical vulnerabilities of the last decade for anyone with an internet-connected device. The software vulnerability grants hackers, spies, and criminals easy access to your information and your data off of countless enterprise-level websites. Security experts across the country are ringing the alarm, saying everyone is at risk. Your privacy, it's in your hands. This is why I personally recommend to you, and I personally use Virtual Shield, a VPN at hidewithlisa.com, and I do not use my internet without it. Virtual Shield will help protect your online data from hackers, from your mobile carrier, from your online data mining companies, and even your internet service provider. The best part is Virtual Shield is one of the few VPNs that have a strict no-log policy, which means that your internet search history is not kept on file and not stored on their servers. I really couldn't be more thrilled with the peace of mind that Virtual Shield gives me. And it's so easy to sign up. All you have to do is go to hidewithlisa.com. And on that website, they've got two amazing offers. One, a 30-day free trial. You can try it out for free. And second, you can get 50% off for life, and even higher than that depending on what you do. But click on Start Now for free to sign up. From there, just enter your login information. You can enter an email address that is good for you, and then just select your preferred payment method. But again, there's a 30-day free trial and a 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 helpful support. So check it out right now at hidewithlisa.com and make sure your family and yourself are protected from these vulnerabilities and hackers and DDoS attacks. You want more information? Check it out in the description box below. All right, back to the broadcast. Well, let's start first with the executive powers that Justin Trudeau gave himself and what these powers have allowed him to do. For starters, those powers have allowed him to start mass arresting Freedom Convoy protesters who have shown peaceful demonstrations. Take a look at this first article here, and this is on MSN.com, the Washington Post more specifically. Police have begun arrests and escalating efforts to end Canada's Freedom Convoy. Here's another article on OttawaNews.com. Two Freedom Convoy organizers have been arrested in downtown Ottawa. Two organizers of the Freedom Convoy demonstration were arrested Thursday evening, hours after the interim police chief warned action was imminent to begin removing protesters from the area around Parliament Hill. Chris Barber and Tamara Lynch were two of several people arrested in downtown Ottawa. Barber was arrested on Alberta Street, while video on Twitter showed Lynch being arrested downtown. The lawyer for the convoy organizers said on Twitter just after 9 p.m. that Lynch is, quote, now in jail. CTV News has learned that Barber and Lynch will face charges of mischief and counseling to commit mischief. So shortly after Justin Trudeau's declaration to use his emergency powers, aka dictatorial powers, he goes after and starts arresting people in the convoy, including many of their leaders. And I believe another leader has been arrested as well. Not only that, but he also put out information there by Ottawa. Ottawa put out information that they're going to go after your pets as well. No joke. Take a look at this. And this was found on Twitter by Ottawa by Law. So this is the official account of Ottawa's regulatory services. And here's what they said. Attention animal owners at the demonstration, specifically the Freedom Convoy. If you are unable to care for your animal as a result of enforcement actions, in other words, you've been arrested, your animal will be placed into protective care for 8 days at your cost. After 8 days, if arrangements are not made, your animal will be considered relinquished. In other words, they can euthanize, kill your animal if you don't come to claim it. These are some sick actions. And by the way, these are the type of actions that you only see under dictators like Justin Trudeau. He can no longer be labeled as a man who is he never was really a man that was ever about democracy or republic or anything of that nature, but that title is officially gone. He is officially a dictator. There is no question. There is no if, and, or buts. He is taking actions and moves that would be deployed by the Castros, the Maos, the Hitlers of the world. Obviously, he hasn't gone to committing mass murder or anything like that, but his actions are in line with the actions of dictators. And what he's doing in Canada is very clear by saying, I'll euthanize your pets. I'll also arrest your leaders and arrest people in these protests. And the third thing he's going to do, well, he's going to seize and go after the bank accounts. In fact, his justice minister leaked out on air on an interview the fact that they're specifically going to go after pro-Trump supporters who are part of the convoy, which sounds more political to me than having anything to do with a convoy. Take a listen to this clip here and what he says here. Take a listen.
Look, you just compared people who may have donated to this to the same people who are funding maybe a terrorist. I just want to be clear here, sir. This is really important. A lot of folks say, look, I just don't like your vaccine mandates and I donated to this. Now it's illegal. Should I be worried that the bank can freeze my account? What's your answer to that?
Well, I think if you are a member of a pro-Trump movement who's donating hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to this kind of thing, then you ought to be worried.
So there you have it. There you have it. If you're part of a pro-Trump movement Trump has nothing to do with Canada or these protests or anything that's going on. But if you're pro-Trump and you're donating lots of money, then you ought to be worried about your bank account being frozen just for simply being pro-Trump, which is pro-freedom. This tells me that it's not about the Freedom Convoy. It's about silencing political dissent. And by the way, it's not illegal, and it shouldn't be illegal over in Canada, but they're under a dictatorship right now in Canada where they're making it illegal to donate to this Freedom Convoy. That only happens in tyrannical regimes. And I know I sound like a broken record. And by the way, Justin Trudeau has been on a rampage freezing accounts over there in Canada. Fox Business, Canada Freedom Convoy, TD Bank, freezes accounts with 1.1 million for trucker protests. Then we have CTV News. Freelance says some protesters' accounts have been frozen and there are yet still more to come. And here's the thing. When the dictator comes out and says, we're going to freeze your bank account, well, this is going to cause some serious problems on banks because the average person in Canada says, hey, I donated to that. I'm going to go get my money out of the bank. So what happens as a result? Well, these banks, and I believe there are 5, that mysteriously go offline right after Justin Trudeau his announcement for dictatorship of seizing emergency powers. Here's finbold.com. 5 major Canadian banks mysteriously go offline in hours-long outage. And then we have this one here. Big banks in Canada face outage day right after the emergency declaration. Can you say run on banks? Many people in Canada got freaked out when the dictator says, I can confiscate your bank account if you're pro-Trump or donated to the Freedom Convoy. By the way, get to restrictedrepublic.com. I put out this video on there and you're going to want to see where I really expand on everything I just said. So get to restrictedrepublic.com. But that said, the next question that has to be asked is, what comes next? If Justin Trudeau uses his emergency powers, rare powers, and there's not even a real emergency. These are people who are peacefully protesting for the most part. If he's willing to use powers to do that, to make arrests, to euthanize dogs, to freeze bank accounts, what is he willing to do next? Because the truth of the matter is, this is mitigation. What Justin Trudeau is doing is mitigation. So then what is he going to do with his newfound powers to prevent such things from happening in the future? In other words, prevent his political dissent from having any voice in the future against any and everything he wants to do, because there is nothing wrong with being against mandates. And that's what this convoy is about. It's against the mandates. What comes next, right? Will he stop the use of his emergency authority and just suddenly let that power go? Or would he now use that power to do something else? And I suggest that that could be the later, because once they have a taste of that power, they don't want to let it go. This is why we have the Kim Jong-uns, the Xi Jinpings, the Staos, not Staos, excuse me, the Stalins of the world, the Maos of the world, the Hitlers of the world, because they have a taste for that power and they don't want to let it go. How long will he grant himself this authority, and what will he continue to do with it to prevent dissent, political dissent that he doesn't like? What laws will he pass? And mind you, he will pass laws against such freedom convoys or protesters. Mark my words, these things are coming, and they're coming with his dictatorial powers. And may I also suggest that he's going to do what the Democrats did here with the January 6ers in the United States of America. He's going to repeat the same actions with the Freedom Convoy people there in Canada. He's going to make an example of them, give them the worst of the worst. They've already called them misogynists and racists and insurrectionists and the whole 9 yards. They've already put the label on them. So can you imagine how they're going to use these people to send a message to their conservative counterparts, to the libertarian counterparts, to their Republican counterparts? This is all about sending a message. And this is what he's doing. So the question is, these are the things that are coming next. Hopefully in Canada, they've got people there in Parliament to step up and take action against it. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.